We're good.
No.
Hey guys, what's going on? I'm your host, Roy
Mm.
Canday, and this is Matt and Robert. So tonight we're talking about our gaming backgrounds. But first, we're going to start off with what we've been playing within the last week. So, what have you guys been up to?
Well, you guys played at the Friday Night Game Group, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, why don't you guys go into a little bit of what you guys played?
So we stream games every Friday. So, Matt, what did
Yeah,
we
what
play
time?
last Friday?
What time do we stream games
man.
on Friday nights?
We stream games at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Or not 9 o'clock,
Okay.
6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, all the way up to 10.
Wow. You guys stay up late. You must be party animals.
A lot of times we go way past 10. So, you know.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So what'd you play?
Zaya. Game
How
about
was it?
spaceships. It's
I
good.
want to get that game so bad. It looks beautiful.
Yeah. I don't know, I like the artwork is pretty good. And I don't know. I'm always just a big fan of games that have odd replayability like that. So it's like the universe is always random,
Yeah.
and then you can try different strategies each time, I suppose.
So what's like the whole goal? Is it like area control, or is it like domination, like you're fighting each other, or is it like a Euro style? What's up with
Well,
Zaya?
I mean, it can kind of be most of those things. I think the big thing is it's accumulate points like most games, but the way in
Okay.
which you do that's varied. So it's like, have you ever played Eclipse?
I feel like
Or
I'm there.
You've you've played Twilight Imperium, so I imagine it's very much the same thing in that it's like
Okay.
there are different objectives to score different things.
Yeah.
Got
The main thing about Zaya is that it's more like you have one ship, and you're basically the
Hmm.
captain of the one ship, and you fly around in that one ship trying to gain victory points in different ways. But it's very much a sandbox style game, so you can
Got it.
kind of like branch out and do whatever you want. So you can go and pick up goods at one planet and sell them at another planet, and that can give you victory points. Or you can go mining, and if you don't sustain damage from asteroids, you can sell those goods at a planet. Or you can go to the scrapyard and blow up a bunch of times like Matt. 'Cause,
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
it's
hey,
kind of
man.
got a lot of like push your luck mechanics in it and like risk management. So
Okay.
that's a lot of fun. But you can
Is there
also
any, like player v player combat or anything like
yes, so you can
Yeah.
also like get weapons and attack the other players, and there's actually some missions that require you to attack like the player to your left or the player to like the second player to your right, sort of thing. So it
Ooh,
kind
I
of
like
encourages combat. And then
Okay.
you can also get victory points just by exploring like tiles. There's like little question
Yeah.
marks on there. So there's like
Yeah.
all sorts of different ways to gain victory points. So it's kind of cool because you have to be very opportunistic. So it's like you have to like see the things. Like Matt exploded in a place, so I was like, oh, let me go over there and pick up all the stuff Matt left. So
And then when I
sorry,
came
Matt.
back, I spawned on the other side of the map. And I was like,
and the sad thing is I think Matt was trying to get back there too.
yeah. Well, like I needed money desperately, and so
Yeah.
that was the only way I could do anything. And then I died, and it was sad. And then
It's rough.
the issue was like our map had like this big strip going down the middle that was just all hazardous terrain, and it's like,
It was very much
Alright.
like an asteroid belt, like right in the middle of the map.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is it's very modular. So like the map can be very different every single time you play. So like we played the game and it was very much like this side of the board and that side of the board because there was these asteroids in the way. We're talking about Zaya right now, which is a space sandbox game. Sort of like you can be like a space pirate or a space merchant going through space.
Arr.
So
you can try your hand at asteroid mining.
it was actually a Kickstarter. I really wanted to get in on the Kickstarter at the time, but like I wasn't able to. But one of my
Wasn't
friends
it like a
kickstarted it.
huge Kickstarter success though?
Yeah, it was
like,
it was
a big
really
one?
big. Like
Yeah.
I think they went like way above and beyond their goals, so they got to do like
Yeah.
a whole bunch of little extra stuff with it. But it has like metal coins and like all pre-painted ships, and it's got like a whole bunch of different ships and stuff in it. So it's like really nice. But I think it's like a $80 game. So
Those coins are pretty legit though. Like,
But it's also hard to find. Like you can't find it in stores. You can only like I haven't found it in any stores. The only way I try to find it is online.
Right.
And it's
I
right now
think
on
like the
Amazon. It's
first
like
print
200
run
bucks.
has completely like stopped. Like they've run out of the first print run, and the second print run is going to print right now. So
Okay.
however long it takes to make something in China and ship it over, they should be getting back in stock like online. But the designer said you can find some of them like in random game stores.
So typically, ThemRR 11. Game's about $80, you said?
Yeah. So
Okay, sweet. So what other games did you guys play?
we played a game called Axis of Villains, which is like a DC game. Did you see any of that, Rob?
I did get to see a little bit. Is that the one where it's like that octagon board
Yeah.
and the villains are coming in from all sides?
The board's like a big octagon. It's very much like Castle Panic. I don't know if you've seen that.
Okay.
It's
I
like
have
a
Castle Panic.
more luck-driven Castle Panic, which is kind of crazy to say. But basically, the
Okay.
way it works is you're in the middle trying to protect like a satellite, so it's tower defense, and then bad guys are coming in from all sides, and you're trying to. You win the game if you clear the board of all bad guys, but more just keep coming out. So, but you get to play like all the cool characters like Batman and Superman and Green Lantern and the Flash.
Okay, real quick. Favorite character? It's got to be Superman. I mean,
Superman is OP. Like Superman's the one character we didn't play with.
If you could be any superhero in the world, you'd be Superman.
Dude, I used to play
Yeah, 'cause he's
HeroClix, and I used to
stupid broken.
always play with Superman just because he was so OP. But like as a
Yeah.
character, he's just too good. He's too good.
It's like, oh, what power do you have? Oh, that's nice. I have that and all of these other powers. It's just ridiculous. I
Yeah.
get all of my fantasies where my wife and daughter do what I say. I'm always Superman. But when I'm back in reality, no one, I'm just Rob. Rob.
Nice. But in the game, you don't actually get to take your turn until you roll the little Justice League symbol on the die. So like two sides of the die, it's a 6-sided die, have the Justice League symbol. But if you
Yeah.
roll it, you actually get to take your turn. But all the other sides have bad things that happen. So on your turn, you're rolling the die, and a bad thing happens. And then you roll the die, and a bad thing happens. And then you roll the die, and a bad thing happens. And you're waiting till the
Can
actual...
you switch between who rolls the dice? Like if that one guy's just rolling horrible,
Nope.
Can
So
you try to get
you
some, like,
take
better-
you continue to roll the die until your turn is actually like you actually take your turn. So like Matt
happen
rolled
to
the
you,
die
Matt?
probably like 8 times and rolled bad stuff.
I
You're like
almost
Matt,
is
lost
that why
the
you're shaking
game.
your head?
Matt,
my
come on.
first turn,
The
yeah,
game is
like, it
so
was just, like-
ridiculous and silly.
Yeah.
But how'd that feel, Matt? What did you think about the game overall?
I was having fun. I like that it's quick. It
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily matter if you win or lose because it's like maybe 5-10 minutes max. But
Okay, that's nice.
yeah, I mean, at least the way we were playing, where we always were just getting destroyed. It might take longer if you actually win the game. But I mean, our games weren't long at all.
So would you say like that's a good filler game or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really take long to set up at all.
That's what I've used it for the most part. Like, there's a couple, like 3 people here before, like, we're gonna play like a real game. I'm like, oh, we can play this because it doesn't really matter if we just put it away and don't finish. But you're probably just gonna
What's
get
the name of that
destroyed
game again?
Axis of Villains. I think it was like a Target exclusive or something, but I'm pretty sure you could easily find a copy somewhere because I don't think it was super popular.
All right.
But it's very much like I like to play it with kids. Like it's a lot of fun to play with like I played with my brother-in-law. He's at the time when we were playing, he's like 10. So like he likes the superheroes and everything, and we can play together on a team and try not to get crushed, even though we probably still do.
Well, cool deal. Well, did you guys play anything else?
That was all we had time for on Friday because Zio is a much longer game.
Yeah, I think we actually put like a 2 or 3 hour time limit on it, where it was just like timer goes off, everybody does their last turn, game over.
Yeah.
So that's
all right.
normally the way we do it. But I actually got 10 points, which is what we said we were going to do. So.
Oh, Roy won. Go figure. If you watch this podcast, you're gonna see that Roy wins a lot. So That's fine.
Unless
He
it's a
doesn't win
game,
a lot.
unless it's a game with negotiation, and then people just jump on me. Like we
That's
played Survive, and everybody just destroyed all my stuff. They're like, okay, Roy's not winning, but still kill his guys.
To be fair, though, Hector did a lot worse than you in Survive.
Yeah, it was
Hector
terrible.
got destroyed.
All right.
So what'd you play, Rob?
Well, I actually met with some friends on Saturday, and we played some party games. I got to play Sheriff of Nottingham, which I absolutely love that game. Have you guys ever played that game?
Yeah, we've played it a few times. It's actually
Okay,
amazing.
so here's the deal with this game. I never do good whenever I try to get in contraband.
Yeah.
Because usually when I play the game, I like to play with new groups all the time. And so since I'm the guy explaining the rules, everyone's like, well, we won't feel bad when we open up your pouch all the time. And so when I tell the truth, I win the game.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's not what the game is really about, but I'm just like, bro, I got 4 apples. I got 4 apples. And I try to make my face where it seems like I don't have 4 apples. And I always just kill. I love it. I love that game. It's a great game. It's a good party game. And I'd say it's probably one of my favorite like intro games to like new gamers, for like a bluffing type game. So that was a lot of fun. And then we also played One Night Ultimate Werewolf.
Yes.
Oh, that game is awesome. We played with a couple kids though, and they get really excited about tapping on the table. And so like things were flying all over the place. We had to restart a couple times.
The whole game isn't just hitting the table. Like there's actually
No.
a game there after you hit the table a bunch.
But bro, some people though, they get some sick beats as they're beating on the table, and we get like a little drum line going on. And then, when the timer goes off, everyone's like, I didn't even know what my job was. I was just drumming. People weren't paying attention.
That's what I keep hoping happens when we play it over at Roy's. I keep hoping like we're just gonna like get into some like weird African beats. Like somebody's gonna like bring a djembe one week and we're just gonna jam out or something.
That would be awesome. But,
the village tribal music.
Now, have you guys ever played Farkle?
I've heard of it, but I've never actually played it.
Okay, it's a lot of fun. I'll just go ahead and say it. It's an easy dice game, and it's all luck. And my wife loves that game, and so we're able to get that game in with a couple of her friends. It's crazy, it's frustrating, but it's a fun, simple, easy game. And so those were the 3 games that we played this weekend. It was a small new group to board games. I was just trying to introduce new people to new stuff, and so those were the party games we played. But we had a good time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I guess if we want to get in our topic now, we can go ahead and start that. So our topic is going to be the whole, basically our board gaming background. So basically the first thing we have is what kind of games did we play growing up? So Rob, do you want to start with that?
What games I played growing up? So,
and it could be anything. Like you could say like, oh, I played this video game, or oh, I played this.
Okay, because I was thinking about that when you sent us the topic. I was like, where do I want to go with this?
I mean, it's really whatever.
Yeah. Growing up for me, like my dad was in the military, and so I played a lot of war games. I grew up playing, just regular Risk and Axis and Allies, which I liked. But I also played Command and Conquer a lot on the computer. Those RTS games.
Nice.
Oh my gosh, I spent a lot of my life collecting gems and blowing stuff up. So that's where a lot of my gaming background is. And I would have to say, growing up, video games were more important to me. Sports games like every year. Because growing up, I could play Command and Conquer, and I could blow up cities and villages and kill all these innocent people. But, oh my goodness, if we played a first-person shooter, my parents were like, that's evil, you're going to the hot spot. So no first-person shooters. But I could nuke a town. It was okay, if I nuked a town with my generals on Command and Conquer. And so it was a lot of RTS, and then Risk, just a lot of Risk and a lot of Axis and Allies. And then I played a lot of card games with my grandma. Did you guys ever play like Pinochle and Rummy and 500 Rummy?
I haven't really played a whole lot of that. Like,
bro, I could go to a retirement home and be like the hot topic.
That's awesome.
All people love me. And not to be rude, but some of them at the end of the time when I leave, they think I'm their son. I'll get birthday money. Like, no. just playing these card games that they love. But I mean, that's what I grew up playing with my grandma and stuff. And my other with my mom and everybody, we'd all just get together and play cards. So, but that's kind of my background on how I got started. I didn't become like a board gamer, a real like modern day board gamer, until about 5 years ago, and I got hit hard, and I've been addicted ever since. But we'll get into that later. How about you guys?
Matt, your turn.
Well, I mean, as far as board games go, long ago, my family used to do game night. I think it was Thursdays. We typically would just play Trouble, just because it was something simple that you could. There's a 5-year age difference between me and my sister. So,
and that popper, man.
Yeah, and at the time, it was one of those things that, it's easy to explain to a younger child like my sister, but is also still accessible because, dice and a ball. Who doesn't want to press that for a couple of hours?
More board games need
playing,
poppers.
Yeah, I remember playing Life a little bit. Like, it was more complicated, so we didn't play it often, but I liked it. But I'm not sure if I liked it entirely because of the spinner. Not 100% sure. But yeah, I mean, that was
Isn't
sort
Life
of
the one where you can like get married and have kids and stuff like that?
Yeah, no, it's like, it's literally like the start of the game. You can go right into the workforce and make less money, or you can take the college route, then go into debt and then make more money. And it's like, oh, okay, hold up, this is I don't know.
The main thing I remember about
it
Life
should
as a
be.
kid is just the pieces being spread all around the house. I don't remember
Yeah.
like actually playing that much.
Like, because the people are so tiny.
I know,
They're
just
like
finding those
tiny
little
Nerf
people.
darts.
Because they'd like pop in the
Yeah.
little cars, and you'd have like the pink ones and the blue ones, and they're just everywhere. Everywhere.
That's right. I did play that once or twice as a kid. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and you don't remember it because none of the consequence sticks around. You're just like, yeah, I'm driving a car, I've got people, woo. And then you just kind of thing-do for an hour. But,
yeah.
I mean, I played video games more, predominantly, from earlier ages all the way up till now.
What was your first console?
Constantly. Sega Genesis, actually.
Oh, nice.
And I got it later than, like, it came out as. It was one of those things that, like, as a kid, I think we had a computer that had Windows 95 on it, and I was like, whoa, what games are on here? Like Solitaire and Hearts. Oh, these are crazy.
Minesweeper, mind blown.
And then, like, my dad was like, well, hang on now. There's this thing that came with the game that had, like, a bunch of, like, old Atari, like, arcade cabinet games in there, like Centipede, Galaga, and stuff like that. And I was just like, all right, I'm just going to do this for the next forever. So, like, I played Dig Dug, like, constantly.
Yeah.
And so, like, I have, like, a weird affinity for, like, old arcade games like that. And then I remember, I think it was one of the kids in my neighborhood had, like, an N64. And he was like, hey, man, come over and play. And, like, we played, like, Mario Party or, like, Star Fox 64 or something like that. And I was like, this is amazing.
Star Fox was so awesome when it came out.
Yeah. And I was, like, losing my mind. And I was like, okay, I need to get something. So I convinced my parents to get a game console, but they didn't necessarily... Like, I didn't tell them which one, and they were like, well, what about this one? I was like, that one will work. So I, like, got a Sega Genesis from, like, a guy in, like, a Wendy's parking lot. It was, like, in his street.
Nice.
Like, he was just, like, reselling it. Had a ton of games with it.
Craigslist before its
Facebook
time.
meetup groups.
Yeah. But it was, like, before Craigslist. So it was, like, one of those things. It was, like, I remember there was, like, an old AM radio show where people were, like, buying and selling things, and somebody was like, I've got old games if anybody wants to buy them. And I'm like, Mom.
Just trade in your child.
Just call that dude. I think I was late for school that day because I made her get out of the car and go back into the house because this was before cell phones were invented, and call the dude and be like, hey, can we meet you someplace?
Nice.
But yeah, so I mean, since then it's just been video games, and now I just play PC games and do that constantly.
Nice.
Well, and board games.
My detriment. Yeah. So I started doing that, which is cool because, the board games that we play now are far more complex and interesting than Trouble could be.
I mean, that's true. We have come a long way from hitting the little bopper ball.
Yeah. I mean,
I
the boards are no
saw
longer
a
one contiguous
Kickstarter
plastic
recently
piece.
where they're making like a whole bunch of those little popper things, but like you can get them with like any kind of dice in it you want. So you get like a D20 popper and like all these different things. Like they have like these little things that have just a whole bunch of poppers in it, like a whole set of dice poppers. So if you're playing D&D, you can just use poppers instead of rolling the dice. I'm like,
You know, that's really not a horrible idea because I know this is not one of our topics, but I hate it. I hate when you're playing a board game and people throw the dice across the board and knock over half the stuff because they think that extra force is going to get them the number that they need.
That's
That
exactly
makes me
me.
that makes me so mad. Like when I'm constantly having to pick up stuff because that one friend they're just shaking and they're shaking and they just let it go. I was like, bro, you look like you're having a seizure. Please stop.
Those-
Just like put it down in front of you.
yeah, I need to
Like,
get some like dice trays, and just like if
Yes.
someone's like a repeat offender, just like set it next to him, and be like, "Here's the dice tray, sir.
Yeah.
Roll in that. If you can't keep
Like-
it in that, walk out the door." No, I'm just kidding.
No,
I,
I'm with you. I'd kick him out. No, I wouldn't.
See,
Everyone's welcome.
technically, I think those people are the same people that when they go bowling, take the ball, and instead of rolling it nicely along the floor, they do like the Fred Flintstone where they throw it halfway down the lane and then it just bounces in, and you're like, yeah, we did it.
For my games that I played as a kid or growing up.
Oh, that's right. You're on this podcast too.
Oh
Yes,
yeah,
right.
that guy.
The host.
So yeah, I played a lot of Stratego. Like I don't know if you guys have
Okay.
played that game. It's basically like capture the flag. Like it's really cool because it like blew my mind because you could set up the pieces however you wanted. So that was a lot of fun because you could like try to hide the flag in specific places, and basically it was all about figuring out where your opponent's people are because you don't know which guys or which numbers. Have either of you guys played it?
I have not. I have not.
Nice. But basically, it's a game of capture the flag with all these different like numerical values on the little pieces, and the higher number pieces can, the higher number pieces can beat like the other guys, except like the lowest number piece can beat the other guy. So basically, you're
Yeah.
trying to like move your guys and remember which guy is which number to be able to kill the other guy's guys off. But it's basically a game of capture the flag where you're trying to figure out where the flag is. But there's also like bombs that blow your people up, and you have to have a certain guy go over there and disarm the bomb. And it's
That
a
sounds
really
cool.
old game, so it's like a classic board game. So I remember playing that a lot as a kid. But also, we played like a bunch of the other regular stuff like Monopoly Junior and crazy crap like that.
My wife, I love her to death. And if she's listening, I love you. But she is the meanest Monopoly player in the world. Like, I actually like Monopoly.
Well, that's what
It's
that game
simple
does to
when
people.
you get snowed in. But my wife, like, she'll sell like the cheapest place. Like, you buy it for $1. In fact, the game will give it away to you. And then she's like, $1 million. There's not even $1 million worth of money. $1 million.
I need you to do the dishes, and then you can have the property.
And I'm like, no. She's like, you're not getting it. And she's so honorary. She won't do it until you do what she says. Like, I just give in. I'm like, fine, take it. I want my deal. Nope. She'll sit on it forever, and it just drives me crazy. And she always ends up winning because I'm not patient at all, and so I just give up. But she's mean, bro. She's mean. I love her to death, baby. I love you, but you're mean. You're mean.
Nice. But yeah,
I
then
suppose it's
like we got an NES. Like a few of our friends had NESs too. So like we played like
Yeah.
regular Nintendo. So like regular Mario was awesome, but definitely like Zelda, like the original Zelda, is like amazing. I remember like calling my friend to ask him like, dude, where's that dungeon at? I can't find it and stuff like that. It's a ton of fun. And Dragon Warrior is just like, I think it's like pre-Final Fantasy almost. It was basically like
Okay.
just a role-playing game, like dungeon. It's not really a dungeon crawl because you're outside a lot, but also has dungeons. But it's like fantasy guy going through, going up levels and getting HP and stuff like that. So I was all like, yeah, fantasy warrior guy. So those were the video games I played. But that was pretty much it for when I was much younger. And my friends got like Super Nintendos and stuff like that, but we didn't have any of that stuff for like a lot longer. So
Yeah.
yeah, good times. So what game most influenced your gaming tastes?
You want to take this one first, Matt or Roy, since I did the last one first?
I just talk, so Matt, you can go ahead.
Man, that's a tough question. See, honestly, I think if you would have asked me that question maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I would have probably said Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic, just because like it's a huge story-driven RPG, and I'm like, yes, I
Yeah.
can get into this. This is awesome. But like now, I find that I tend more toward games that are like roguelikes, like The Binding of Isaac or
Nice.
Dungeons of Dreadmore, stuff like that, where the game is always different, and so you can always play it differently, and you're always going to find new things. Um, I just have a ton of fun with those games,
Yeah.
and like I think like I can even see that like in terms of like the games that I like when we play a game night is like I like playing games like Betrayal or games like Battlestar Galactica or Dead of Winter, where it's like everything is like going to be different and everything it's going to be crazy and you're going to have to fight really hard to win, but it's going to be different. So it's never like well, let me put it this way: when we played Forbidden Desert, I was like, oh, that was kind of fun. You know, it's not bad. The game's hard, but I played it a couple more times on Tabletop Simulator, and then I just hit a point where I was like, I don't really have a desire to play that again, because while where the pieces end up are going to be different, it's still very much like the same game.
Right.
And I'm like, I'd rather just play something where it's like, okay, nobody knows who's going to try to murder somebody. That dude over there is going crazy. The map's
You're the
different.
traitor.
Yeah, like it's just it makes it so I just strange and different, and it just adds a whole new level of replayability to a game that might not otherwise have it.
Yeah.
So
I definitely love the games with like the modular boards where you can always like the board layout's different every time you play, like with Betrayal and Zaya and Eclipse, all that stuff. Like stuff is different when you play. It's like, oh well, that's there now. That completely changes the game from the last game we played, and the chances of it being exactly the same as a game you've played before, like the map layout, is like basically impossible. So.
I have to say for me, like, I love war games. That's what I grew up playing, and so I think what probably influenced me the most on war games is probably Axis and Allies, just because, and I still have my old 1983 box, the super thick box, all the pieces and everything, but when you had to use money and you had to buy all these certain things, and it wasn't just like just rolling the dice, like you had to strategize what you're going to do, what you're going to spend your money on. It wasn't just about losing guys because you had your factories and everything. And so that really got me going into more detailed war games. But I'd have to say, like, the first game that really kind of clicked for me was Battlestar Galactica. One, I'm a fan of the show. I'm a nerd. I get it. But when I found out that somebody could be the Cylon right off the get-go, like when my buddy was reading the rules, but somebody could not be the Cylon. And then the second half of the game, somebody is a Cylon, but they don't have to reveal themselves. I think the very first time I played that game, if you sneezed, I was yelling at you for being a Cylon.
That's so awesome.
It's like, I just scratched your elbow. A Cylon would do that. You're a Cylon. That really influenced me on like co-op games, and it really kind of changed my taste on different games that I love now. I'm a big fan of co-op and strategy games, and like me versus you, or my group versus your group kind of a thing. But yeah, I would have to say Battlestar Galactica and Axis and Allies for me.
So for my gaming taste, I played a lot of Gamma World with my dad, like starting when it was like 11 or 12, which Gamma World is like a post-apocalyptic role-playing game that came out like right after D&D. Like the game came out before I was born because my dad was playing it in college. But he got like me and a few of my other friends like from our homeschool group and like our church group and stuff like that, and we started playing like regular campaigns. And it's basically D&D, but like with mutants with like mutant powers and stuff like that. So it wasn't as frowned on in the type of communities we're in, because it wasn't like you're fighting demons and dragons, but you're just like wandering around the post-apocalyptic wastes trying to survive. So and just like the fact that role-playing games in general are like such story-driven games, like I feel like that's made a lot of my taste be like, when I play a game, I want to be able to see the story in it, like see like what happens as we progress along, and like the stories that happen with the other players at the table, like, oh my gosh, that guy backstabbed me in Battlestar Galactica, or we were playing this co-op and we just barely made it, and it makes for like these epic stories. Like I just love basically the narrative that the games make. I think that influences a lot of my taste and stuff. So it's like when I play these like drier like Euro style games where it's like, okay, now we're trading these things and I put these cubes here and do that. I normally do like really good in them. Like I can like get a lot of points and stuff, but I'm just like I walked away, I either won or I lost, and I remember the mechanics of the game, but I don't remember like what we were actually doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that kind of happened with Eclipse, where it's like pretty much the only thing I remember about Eclipse was like the nuclear arms buildup we had on like the last couple of turns, and we were like very concerned about who was going to control the middle tile, and if we were all like if all hell was going to break loose and everybody was going to fight everybody, and like that's pretty much it, because it's like the rest of the game, like it mattered in terms of who won and who did what, but it doesn't matter.
But all of a sudden, that one part of the board just kind of took over precedence over anything else.
Yeah, because there's not like a lot of negotiation in Eclipse or anything. It's just like, oh, hey, you want to like do trading so we can get cubes on each other's thing? You trade a cube for my cube. And some people like try to say, oh, Eclipse has a ton of theme and stuff like that. I still like the game, but it's like it doesn't make a huge like story or anything like that. I mean, for the most part. I mean, I guess you could play it up, but like when you play Twilight Imperium on the 16th mat, you're going to be like mind blown.
I am so excited for that. That is going to be amazing. That is going to be a lot of fun.
I feel like if the people who say Eclipse have a lot of theme, those are the people who will like constantly look for story in things and try to add story to stuff. Like I have a friend who plays a lot of like crazy in-depth, like I can't even remember the technical term for it, but it's the games are Crusader Kings 2 and like Europa Universalis 4.
Oh yeah, like Castle Builder and Castle Defender games and stuff like that.
Not even that. He looks at a map pretty much the whole game. And anytime he wants to do stuff, he just like pulls open menus of stuff. And I'm like, this game looks crazy. And like there's nothing on the map. It's just like he's literally like looking at like a map of Europe. And he's like, so my guy's here. And he has to like zoom way in. He's like, so my guy's here in the province of Kent out here. And like, you know, but like everything he does and anytime he talks about it, it has like a very like huge story. And it's like, I can't see it personally, but he attaches a lot of story to that game. And it makes it really fun for him. And, you know,
I played a game like that on the PC. It's called Imperial Glory. And it's like, it starts off in like 1760 in Europe. And it goes through like the 1850s. And it's a whole map of Europe. That's the whole game. And like your army, your base is just like one figure. But there's a lot of detail that's in that one figure. And there's a lot of things you have to do with like trading, and you have to build up your resources and build up your provinces and go mine for things, and then you got to marry people off, and you have to make treaties with people. I mean, it's really in depth for these like little stick figures that are going around. So yeah, they're fun, but oh my gosh, they'll make your head hurt.
Nice. I think board games can do a lot to like enhance the theme. Just like if they have like a lot more art on the cards and like the flavor text and stuff like that. Some people might not need that, but like for me, like seeing awesome art and awesome like flavor text and backstory for like the different like races and characters, it just opens up the world for me. You know, it like makes me be able to see what the designer like was envisioning. So,
well, what I also like about board games is the interaction with people.
Right.
Like, you know, you play video games and you get that little 10-year-old who's cussing at you on the other line, or you play your PC game, but like when you have that face-to-face interaction with board games and you can see people really getting nervous, or some people getting really excited, or people getting mad, like I love that. I absolutely love that. That's what drives me towards more board games, I guess.
I was gonna say typically, or so like I have a group of people that I'll play Tabletop Simulator with, and so we try to play different games like that. And they have One Night Ultimate Werewolf for Tabletop Simulator, and I'm like, I wonder how this would work, because half of that game during the negotiation period is just being able to see the other people
Right.
and like notice that Phil is just literally not talking like Phil always does. So we're just gonna kill him. But
I will always vote for that guy. I will.
well, see, that's the thing. He is at games where he has to like cast doubt away from himself. I feel like he doesn't do a good enough job doing that. But games where it's just like you need to accumulate stuff, he's amazing at because he just doesn't talk and everybody forgets about him. And then he just comes up and he's like, "I've got 4 billion points," and everybody's like,
It's all about the turtle game.
It's insane, but it's like it's pretty interesting.
Nice. Somebody's ringing.
What? That's so rude. Who would be having the phone call come in? It's like.
Awesome. So does anybody have any like
house.
interesting gaming facts about themselves that they want to share?
I wouldn't say facts. So I love Rob Davio. So hardcore. So I have completed 7 full boards of Risk Legacy. And I've won 4 of them. And if you've played Risk Legacy, which I won't try to do any spoilers, but it's 15 games per board. So I have Risk Legacy. I've played over 105 boards because actually right now I'm playing my 8th board with another group of people.
That's crazy.
And I'm winning that board as well. And but oh my gosh, if you have not played Risk Legacy, it is mind blowing. Like. That is the game that made me become a modern day board gamer. When you can manipulate the board, and it's never the same. Every group I've played with so far, all 8 boards, it's always turned out differently. Like when certain actions happen, it's never been the same every time, and I absolutely love it. And that's very unique for a board game because the board comes alive. It's not like it's just, oh, well, there's North America for Risk, and there's Australia and your turtle. Like, you can jack people up, or you can not, or you can. There's just. I don't want to get into it because I don't want to spoil the game for some people. But oh my gosh! So I've spent a lot of money for that man, and I plan on buying several copies of his new game of Seafall when it comes out, just because I'm going to play them to death. But
well, I know he worked on like HeroScape 2 and like Betrayal at House on the Hill. Have you played like any of those games?
I have a friend who's got like 300 plus figures for HeroScape.
Yeah, that's how the HeroScape fans. That's normally how they do.
Yeah, and so we've had some pretty crazy epic battles. And so yeah, I'm a fan of his work. And plus, I'm a big fan of Plaid Hat. Absolutely love Plaid Hat games. And Seafall is going to be produced by Plaid Hat. So, they just if they have a game that comes out, I'm like, here's my wallet. I don't care. It's okay. Here you go.
See, now that was the thing that killed me. Was like, I saw Dead of Winter played on tabletop, and was like, okay, that game looked cool. That's fine, whatever. And then it's entirely different. Like when I played it, I was like, holy crap, this is amazing.
Nice.
Yes.
And it's just like, and then at the end, you guys
Roy
are like,
thought I was
but
the
they're doing
traitor.
one in space.
You
I'm
thought
like,
I was the traitor.
I just have to accuse people to see like what happens if I accuse them and see how they react.
Real quick, we were playing Dead of Winter, and if you ever play Dead of Winter, you have the main objective and then you have your secret objective. So I'm trying to complete both, and there was a round or two where I was a little stingy at helping out people, and so immediately Roy's like, "You're the traitor, you're the bad guy, you're killing all of us." And so
the best thing ever is the fact that like I forced you to do what I wanted you to do. I was like, dude, if you're good, you're doing this, and you're like, I guess I'm doing that.
and I had to do it because like at our gaming group, Roy's kind of like the voice of reason, and so if Roy starts to point at you, people are like, yeah, he's the traitor. Yeah, you're right, Roy. You're right.
It depends. It depends on the mood that people are in though, because that can easily backfire on me real quick.
But that
guys, I'm the seer for the 3rd time in a row, and everybody
exactly.
just goes, "Now we're done. Vote for that guy. We don't even have to
kill Roy off. He's lying. There's no way this is possible."
But Dead of Winter, yeah. Anyway, keep going. I'm sorry I interrupted. I just got really excited.
So, board game facts for me. I used to play Redemption a whole lot Like the it's
Yes.
basically like the Christian version of Magic, like their alternative to the evil woes of Magic the Gathering. But basically, it was a card game that basically had the same sort of thing, like you were attacking each other and trying to win different cards. But I used to be like really heavy in the tournament scene for that. So
Oh,
like
sold.
they used to have like local tournaments and like regional tournaments and district tournaments and state tournaments. Well, one
Yes.
year I won the maximum that you could win in all of those, and then I went to the national tournament and like I played and went all the way undefeated. But there was one more round, and one of the guys who like helps like design the cards and like works there was like, man, do you know if you win this thing, you'll have like the perfect score that like for the entire like season? And I'll be like, yeah, man, let's not talk about it right now. And then I ended up losing the game where I played against someone who had already lost. I ended up losing the game, and then the tiebreakers ended up making him win the national tournament. So like I got second in the national tournament with like a perfect score for everything else. I can't really complain though, because like I got boxes and boxes of booster packs.
Yeah, but did you go back to that guy and was like, look, that was you. That was your fault.
I mean, I was pretty
Like,
I
let's
was
be
pretty
honest.
salty, but it's all good.
No, I've actually played Redemption as well. It's a fun game. I still have my deck. It's an all-white offense. And then I've got my Assyrian defense. We should play that sometime.
Yeah,
We really should. We should get together.
after playing like all these other games and just like my mind being open to all of them, I'm just like
Yeah.
it's so hard not to see like a lot of the flaws in it now at this point.
Oh,
But
it's completely messed up, but it's fun. Yeah, like it's broken. Like you can do some crazy combos that are just ridiculous, and the game's broken. And if you don't know better, people will just keep doing it and they'll win. Or
well, that's what I
it's
was all
broken in the
about.
other
Was
way.
like my deck was like meta breaking, and I just like won the
Yeah.
game. So
And according to the rules, I can legally do this, and I just won. Praise God. And I'm like, okay, like, sorry. You know,
nice.
so it's
So
cool.
Matt, do you have any interesting gaming facts about yourself?
Other than I play a ton of video games, no.
Video games.
Yeah, like I don't know. I spend way too much time in video games. Other than that, not.
How many hours have you logged in Dota now?
I'm actually I stopped playing because the past patch that they had was a little wonky. Like it wasn't balanced too well. It just you saw like the same 3 or 4 heroes come out each time, and it was just like, well, this is boring. I would rather play with the entire 110 hero roster as opposed to just the same 8. So I stopped, but now they came out with a new patch. I'll probably jump back into it. But the number here that Steam says is 3,932 hours. So,
How close
Yeah,
to that is?
dedicated.
How close is that to a year? No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, to be fair, there's a good chunk of that is watching games inside the client, not necessarily playing, but still.
You say 3,092?
3,932. So almost 4,000.
Rob's gonna do the math.
Yeah.
I am right
Let's
now.
find out how many days of my life I've wasted.
So you have spent 164 days.
Mm.
So
I hope you're
that's
proud.
awesome.
That's
That's
awesome.
okay.
though.
I sold a box from that game the other day for $300.
That's awesome.
So now I have $300 that I can play with to buy Steam games.
But
Which
the
is
funny
cool.
thing is, as long as you played that game, that's also as long as it takes Roy to grow a beard,
Exactly.
right? That's good?
Exactly.
No,
I gave up before then. I couldn't get to that 100 and whatever days.
I get the like little patches right there, so that's why I don't do it either. All right. Can I ask the next question?
Go ahead, sir.
All right, so we did interesting gaming fact about you. How did you start playing modern board games?
I guess I can go first.
Yep.
So I had played like the Settlers of Catan and like Carcassonne and like Bang and stuff like that, but I didn't really like get into games like hardcore until like you, Rob, played Battlestar Galactica. Like,
Yeah.
one of my friends invited me to like a gaming weekend where like their main thing is they were gonna play D&D and Battlestar Galactica, and we played like 2 or 3 games of Battlestar Galactica back to back, and like the things you could do in that board game just blew my mind. I'm like, this is where board games are at now. I'm
Yes.
like, holy smokes, because like I'd played Bang before, so I kind of seen like the hidden roles thing, like the original Bang. So it's like who's the sheriff, who's the outlaw. But like after playing Battlestar Galactica and like the whole semi-cooperative part of it, because I liked the fact that like we were trying to work together to get stuff done.
Yeah.
And then the fact that there's also a traitor in there somewhere, being able to accuse each other and backstab and all that stuff, and root for the humans to win, but then like still stab each other in the back. Like it just opened up a whole world. And after that, I played like Arkham Horror and Pandemic and Shadows over Camelot, and just playing like those cooperative games after that just made me like want to like give up D&D and Magic and all these other things I was playing to be like, board games. It's board game time.
Well, see, that's also what I love about like board games compared. Like, I like Magic. Don't get me wrong; it's a fun game, but it's always kind of like the luck of the draw. You can draw a lot of mana, or you can draw a lot of characters, and you can hurt yourself. But in a board game, for the most part, if you screw up, it's your fault. And I like that. I'd rather have the responsibility be on my gameplay rather than just because I drew bad cards.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that depends on the game you're playing. And I mean, the main reason that I stopped playing Magic the Gathering, because I mean, I was never like as big in Magic as I was in Redemption, but I'd play at Friday Night Magic and I won some Friday Night Magics and stuff like that. But like the fact that like to keep themselves earning money, they have to cut away all the old cards. So at that point, it's like, well, half my card collection just disappeared from cards I can play, and I have to buy all these new cards. And so I just turned all my cards into board games. So,
which is that wall behind you. So you had a lot of cards.
Well, also a few birthdays and Christmases, but yeah.
I found that I could sate my need to buy Magic cards simply by going online and just looking at the card art, because that was half of it for me, was like looking at a card and going, holy crap, this is like amazingly painted. And I would just sit there and look at cards and stuff, and it was like, it was less about, oh, how OP can I make this deck, or like just playing with friends. It was more like, dude, this like green tree dude looks awesome. I've got to put him in a deck somewhere. And that's why young 12-year-old me, like I went to a pre-release tournament one time, and like young 12-year-old me was like, my deck is this fucking big, and it was like 100 cards or something, and I was like, I'm just not gonna draw anything, but I had to put everything in because it looked cool. And I was like, yeah, all right. So I mean, you know,
you're like that guy that like plays poker and you think you won because you have all reds because they all look the same, but they all look really cool.
It's very much like a Timmy thing to do. Have you seen like those different stereotypes for like Magic players, like Timmy, Johnny, Spike, or whatever? This guy wrote this article out, and there's like different player types, like in the reasons that they play the game, and it could be like Tom Vassell actually did a thing where he talked about it being like you can do it for board games too. Like a Timmy is someone who like just likes to play it, have fun, and see cool things happen. And then like a Johnny is a person that wants to do like crazy combos, and they still want to win the game, but they want to like win it in a unique, weird way. And then a Spike is a person that's just like, I want to do the most like min-max thing and win the game that way. I want to win every time. It's all about winning. So I'm very much like in those sort of games. Not necessarily as much in board games, but like in like Magic or like Redemption or whatever, I'm more like a Spike, like win the game with the right deck and do it. So
how about you, Matt? What got you going into modern board games?
Well, about 2 months ago, Roy was like, hey, I'm doing this game thing. You want to come? And I was like, yeah, sure. And that was that. So, I mean, that was pretty much it. Like, it was just like I've had Fridays off for quite a while just to do other things, and then most of all of my plans previously have fallen through. And then Roy's like, games? And I'm like, yeah, I'll give this a try. And then like I showed up, and I think that first night we played. We played Betrayal that night.
We didn't play Betrayal the first time, I don't think. I think we played like Masquerade, didn't we?
We played Masquerade for sure. I thought we played Betrayal because that was the only time I've seen Trevor.
Maybe we did, because like you showed up and then people were like, hey, you want to play Betrayal? And I'm like, Matt's here. We are playing Betrayal. Because you had seen it like on Tabletop, right?
Yeah.
Like the actual show on YouTube.
Yeah, like because I was watching that.
We will be there soon. We're going to be famous.
One of these days, Will Wheaton will all mail us envelopes and be like, you are cordially invited to come beat me in board games.
In your dreams.
But nah, I don't know. It's like I had seen it, but like I said, just looking at it on YouTube, you go, oh, that's neat, that's cool, and then that interaction, like the player to player, where there's a lot of games where you just have to sit down and just actually think about like how you're gonna move or what you're gonna do, and in cooperative games like Betrayal, it's like, okay, hang on, now if we move here and we do this, that's okay, and it's like there's like a whole new just element to how everything functions.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff is the same thing that blew my mind, like working together against a game. Like even in Battlestar, it's like working together, like to try, like as the humans, until you find out one person's against you. But like, it was just so awesome to me because most of the board games you play are just like everybody against each other and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, for me, what it was is my best friend. His name is Lee Paris, and he and I are both Battlestar Galactica fans. And so one day, he brought home to his house Battlestar Galactica, and then he brought home Risk Legacy. And his son had some friends over, and so we had a good group, and we started playing Battlestar Galactica. And oh my gosh, I got hooked. One, the artwork was cool. Two, the whole betrayer, I'm not your friend, I am your friend, we're working together, let's get some food, but we can't get food. Oh my God, it was you all along. Like that blew my mind. And then we finished that game, and that game was a lot of fun, but then he was like, let's play Risk Legacy. And
let's pull out the permanent markers and draw on the board.
We tried to open up everything as quickly as possible. And I'm glad we did for the first time. But again, not to do any spoilers, but there's this mission in Risk Legacy when 3 nukes are used in one battle. Once that happened, that blew my mind. Like there's this event that happened. No, literally. Like 50 plus guys were killed. It was so bad when that mission happened. Like everybody died. It was ridiculous.
We haven't even gotten to that point in my game.
Oh, bro! I went out and I bought 2 copies of it the next day.
That's awesome. Like, you bought 2 copies of the same game?
Yeah, I just like, if we can only play 15 games, I was like, no, like this is ridiculous.
That is awesome.
And I bought Game of Thrones, which we hadn't played yet, and I bought Battlestar Galactica. So like, here's like a couple $100. Sure, let's go. Like, I'm addicted, and ever since then, I've been addicted to cardboard. It's a problem. And my wife will tell you I suffer from it. But I just, that was the moment, that day, that Saturday, when we played Battlestar Galactica, and then we played like 8 games of Risk Legacy. In a 15-game board, we played over half of the board in a day. We played from like I think 1 o'clock in the afternoon is when we started Risk, and we were done like at 3 a.m. We were just exhausted. It was amazing. It was beautiful. It was just beautiful. Is that too much?
No, that's awesome.
I felt
as long as you're not touching yourself, I think it's all right.
My hands, right here.
Yeah.
Okie doke. So I guess now we can do our email questions and answers. So if anybody has any questions or anything like that they want to ask us, make sure to email us at epicgamingnight@gmail.com, or you can also tweet at us at epicgamingnight and use the hashtag epicgamingnight. So and then we'll pick one of those questions that people ask and try to get through them and ask. So this last one we had. Do you want to go ahead and read it, Rob?
Steven at Bercolucci asks, what do you look for in a game? Complexity, theme, mechanics, replayability? And so since I went ahead and asked it, I really look for replayability because since I am buying a lot of games, I want to be able to play it more than once. Of course, like, theme is a big thing for me as well. Like, when we're playing Dead of Winter, I really feel like, oh my gosh, I need to help save everybody. But I also want to be able to play Dead of Winter 100 times, and I feel like I can do that with that game. So for me personally, it's more theme and replayability. Mechanics are what they are. It's how you buy the game, and complexity, it depends on who you're playing with. But that's just for me personally.
Nice.
Mine's pretty much the same way, actually. It comes down to replayability, like almost 100%. Like theming, if somebody puts a space game in front of me, I will probably play it. Just because really like space and sci-fi stuff.
Nice.
But it's like, will I come back to it? I don't know. Will I consider maybe buying it and starting my own Roy shelf of games? Like, But like I said, earlier, like just replayability, like Dead of Winter, Betrayal, things that have random boards, random scenarios, all this stuff is like, yes, I need to do this. I need to do this until I've played through everything. And then once I've played through everything, I can play it with different people and the outcomes are going to be different, even though I'm playing the same things in the game.
Nice.
And it's just, I don't know. It's the human interaction again.
Yep.
Just the amount of stuff that can happen is so large.
I bet your Steam collection puts my board game collection to shame.
Maybe.
Nice.
I don't know. You've got a lot of board games, though.
For me, I mean, it's not one of the things you listed here, but like the main thing is like just like fun. Like I have silly games, like games that, I mean, the replayability is not even probably that high. Like it's just silly. Like I'll play like Loopin' Louie and Click Clack Lumberjack and just silly stuff like that, just because it's a fun game to like play with my friends. But the same sort of thing, like replayability and theme are like the main things. Like, I mean, even theme probably more than replayability, just because like I have so many board games. Like if I couldn't play it a bajillion times, it might be okay because like I have all these other things to play too. Like if I can play it a certain number of times, that might be fine. Like even like with Risk Legacy, you play it 15 times, the game's pretty much done. But like it's still like the story that you made getting there, and the theme that comes out in the crazy world is really big. I was talking to a guy on Twitter, like talking about board games, and I said I'm a thematic fanatic. So basically, just I'm all about thematic games.
Fanatic. You heard it here first, folks.
Exactly.
Say it again. Say it again.
What was it? Thematic fanatic.
I have to write that down.
Yeah, it's actually a guy who's like doing T-shirts. He's like, dude, I need to put that on a T-shirt. So maybe coming soon. But yeah, so if anybody has any questions that they want us to answer, feel free to email us or hit us up on Twitter. Either way, we'll try to get your question answered on the podcast.
So, yeah.
Wow, we just rolled over straight up to 10 p.m.
We're such rebels.
That's like the best.
Yeah.
So guys, make sure to check us out on all of our different things. Definitely follow us on Twitch. We do this podcast. We're going to do it every single Tuesday night. And then Friday nights, we're doing our live stream of board games. So podcast is at 9 p.m. to 10 in theory. And then for the live stream of board games, it's 6 p.m. to 10 also. But those are both going to be Eastern Standard Time. But these coming weeks, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to be playing like full game days on Saturday. So we're going to play Twilight Imperium on the 16th. So we're basically probably going to be starting at like 11 a.m. or something like that. And we're just going to go.
We have to start early.
We're going to go until either A, we finish the game, or B, my marriage is over. Either one of those two. It'll happen. And then on the 23rd is going to be like my big like birthday game day. So we're going to have like burritos and birthday board games and crazy crap. But we're basically just going to do the same thing. We're just going to play whatever board games. We're basically going to have like 3 tables playing. But in the game room, the entire day is going to be streamed. So we're just going to have a bunch of different people playing board games that day. So anybody who wants to stop by and make fun of us playing games or tell us who the Cylon is, it's Matt.
Hold on, real quick. Tinfoil, you are not alone. Mechanics are important. Did you see this? Mechanics are important. It's just for us personally, we prefer theme over replayability. Because the mechanics can break a game. Kind of like Redemption we were talking about earlier. You have bad mechanics, a game can be broken. So I just want to let you know you are not all alone. I feel bad now. Now I feel like we should say mechanics. Like our first night, we already have a sad listener. Like that's not good.
I mean, I feel like the thing is though, the mechanics and replayability tie in a lot together. So without specific mechanics in a game, replayability just simply isn't possible. Like, I like games that have trader mechanics, and it's like, those games to me are pretty much infinitely replayable just because, it's always going to be somebody different. They can always try a different strategy to just mess up the other team.
Because you're
And
almost
that's not
playing the people more than the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you can categorize it kind of however. Like, trader mechanics are both a mechanic, but they're also theming. So, I mean, it's pretty much how you play it, I suppose, as opposed to how it just lies. But
like if you play Resistance, why would you ever come out as a traitor in the first round? Like, why would you ever do that? That's the dumbest thing ever. Just completely ruin the game for somebody and get somebody really mad where they just start clapping.
Good job. Good job, Rob.
The last game of Battlestar Galactica I played, that was pretty much what happened. It was like turn 2, the Cylon was like, I'm gonna dick you guys hard. And we were just like, I don't know what to do. And we couldn't figure out who it was because it was like, so we were playing with a guy and his wife was the Cylon. But the way he plays games is he's just aloof, just straight up. He's just like, I don't know what's going on. They're like, are you the traitor? He's like, I don't know. And it's like, just answer the question.
That's the best.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I love that game, but I've only ever won one time as the humans in Battlestar Galactica. That game is hard. I always play with good people, though.
Yeah, it really depends on like how the Cylons fall. Like if you get 2 Cylons at the very beginning of the game,
or you get somebody that knows what they're doing in their Cylon, it's over.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the like hidden role games are like that. Like when good people are the spy, the betrayer, whatever, they know how to tank the game and they know how to like pull people's strings so that they don't know it's them or they just screw them up.
Like Shadows over Camelot, like you don't know if you can defeat the Black Knight. Like, guys, my numbers are just really low. I just don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You just throw some of that inefficiency in there, and it's just enough inefficiency, like when the game is so tight by itself that the inefficiency just crashes the entire game. So
good times.
Good times.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Well, I guess that's pretty much been a podcast. We can still talk a little bit after this if we want to, but I'm going to go ahead and play the outro music. So make sure to follow us. Check us out on our actual Twitch stream because we stream these live. So if you come on Tuesdays, if you're listening to this actually on the iTunes or the RSS feed, if you come on Tuesdays at 9 Eastern Standard Time, you'll be able to actually see our faces and see us live. We're also going to try to throw this up on YouTube so you can see this after the fact.
So Twitch, iTunes, YouTube,
make sure to
ice cream shops,
Twitter, Instagram, all the things. Hit us up. We like to talk about board games.
By the way, that link is twitchtv.com/ not .com, just twitch.tv/Epic Gaming Night. Much in the same way that everything is. Just a repeat.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for coming out. See you next time.
Goodbye. Good luck.
See you guys.
Peace.